Hi, my name is Sarah, and I have started a sort of website program called Dear Soul, documentation of a spiritual existence, mainly for the purpose of teaching others how to connect with their soul, teaching others about self-awareness through compassion. Because I felt that there's so much information out there right now about your higher self and connecting to your higher self, but it seems to me kind of very specific to the teacher, very tied into sort of religious imagery and sort of entrenched in sort of new age mystical ideas, and sort of it's beyond most people's understanding or interest in engaging with their soul. There seemed to be an alienated process of engaging with your soul through religion, through Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle. I love Eckhart Tolle myself, but his teachings tend to be kind of geared towards a very specific group. You know, the people who can afford to go to the retreats and watch Oprah and, afford his books and, a certain kind of lifestyle. I'm really hoping with Dear Soul to engage lots of people. The purpose, I have a lot of plans for Dear Soul. I really want to do these video blogs. I just gave birth to a daughter about 5-6 months ago, and it really just re-engaged me with my soul on a much higher level. And the purpose, beyond helping others, can learn how to really interact with their higher self, like the real ground rules, the basics, how to communicate, and and really feel that energy. There's selfish reasons for Dear Soul, is that existing in, I'm going to say, fourth dimension. I really didn't believe that, that people are talking about 3D, 4D, but I can feel it. I can feel it, when I'm in a really good space and I'm really connected, when I'm really just, really full of this manifestation of energy. It just feels like the world is just kind of transient. Like I can put my hand through this camera and there's no barriers. There's obviously boundaries, emotional boundaries. I want to protect myself from dark people or people who really engage in unhealthy things. And that could be my neighbor drinking soda, because going along with drinking soda means he probably watches endless hours of television and has a very bizarre notion of nutrition, and it goes on the whole package. It can be such a sensitive, small thing. I just want to stay away from those people and stay within this energy and just keep floating within this energy. This energy is new to this planet. This planet hasn't experienced fourth dimensional energy for a very, very, very long time. So it's new to me too, and as I experience it, I will try to transcribe it into my project for Dear Soul. I also got an idea. All this came through a few dreams in the past week. I got an idea for writing a book. My background is in philosophy. I have a master's degree in philosophy from the New School for Social Research in New York City. So I have a really strong background, sort of breakneck design, pushing myself to study philosophy and write very intricate, profound theses that, were profound to me but didn't resonate with other people, because philosophy is incredibly abstract and not necessarily tangible within, our very practical society. But I got this idea for something called Dear Soul, a history of our relationship with our connection to our higher self, to really go back in history, maybe as far back as Atlantis, maybe along the theme of Edgar Cayce, but not channeling serious research, and see how we fared historically in different energies and different times. It is sort of similar to David Wilcock's work, where he does these very detailed histories, but he really kind of breaks it down to the point where it's redundant. You really want to interact and have that engagement, because connecting with your soul is abstract, but the research and writing of your soul doesn't have to be abstract. So that's where Dear Soul is kind of at right now. I'm trying to map out a website and the blogs. I really want to look at spiritual trends and see, 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 certain spiritual trends, not necessarily like, Eckhart Tolle or Deepak Chopra and what's going on in mainstream, looking at certain weird movements in our world, like this program in Brooklyn, like Elimination or something, where the mothers, parental stuff is very interesting to me because I have a baby. The mothers don't let their babies go into a diaper. They prefer to teach the babies how to train themselves, sort of like pre-potty training, and they go on curbs, they go in buckets. It's very primal. And looking at that and how it's shaping spiritually in our world, it's this obsession with biology, it's obsession with the body, it's this sort of minute control of everything, because we have this absence of, I'm not going to say reason, because the term reason philosophically is bound into the 3D world, but it seems like a crazy fad. And it's this obsession with the body, everything has to be organic. Not that it shouldn't be, for real reasons. But there's this sort of lack of education about, well, why are you forcing your child to go into a bucket? Why are you having your child poop on the street in Brooklyn? And talk about the role of the body and how we are becoming more disconnected by focusing on these 3D elements that we can't control, or how this shapes into a spiritual problem on our planet, and how how can we address it, or how has the body become a substitute for our connection to our soul. It's a cry for help, so to speak. I definitely would say that. I'm totally for organic, because our children's systems should not have to go through pesticides and whatnot. So that's where Dear Soul is, blogging, and hopefully maybe setting up some kind of service where I can talk to people. Where did Dear Soul come from? I had a dream. And the dream was, and it keeps coming, so it's not like, it keeps building, it keeps evolving, it keeps expanding in a positive direction. Just saying, this is where you're going with your life, and you can become distracted, you can become embroiled in other things, but we will keep slamming this home to you. The Bilderberg protest, David Icke, totally awesome. Just watching everyone, Luke Radowski, We Are Change, Alex Jones, and just the whole unfolding of it. I'm sure not everyone was on the same page, because they did have interactive questions with the protestees from the stage. You could tell that some people had very specific concerns that weren't necessarily related to the sort of the universe. It was like, they turned off my water in Ireland, the damn Bilderbergers. It was very, that has really nothing to do, it's very small scope. And, and there are some people who are making up stories about chasing Lord Mendelssohn around some random small English town, because they want to be part of the scene, they want to be part of the movement, and it makes them feel important to chase down, quasi think they're powerful people. But I was just really inspired by the movement, and inspired that they were actually, because the last year's Bilderberg event in Virginia, I actually lived in Virginia at the time, and it was no one showed up. And they were shoved, not even on a curb, because the roads in Virginia tend to be 3-4 lanes. So they're just shoved on the side of a highway on a grass, and no one really cared. So it was kind of disenchanting. But then to see this huge turnout, and that people were on the same laneway, people were in the audience yelling, "What about the pedophiles? Why aren't you arresting them?" And that people are really getting it. But it's a very political, it's a political awareness. I felt David Icke hit spiritually upon things. I felt Carrie Cassidy from Project Camelot hit on, the reason, the so-called this is the transparency that they're talking about, so to speak. I really would encourage you to seek out David Icke's as well as Carrie Cassidy. And I'd really like to make a shout out to Alex Jones in the conclusion of my first video blog, where I feel like I'm rambling and not very engaging. But to Alex Jones, I love you, Alex. I think you're great. I think you're very ruthless and just so persistent. But I think there was some minute backlash. I know you explained why you went on the BBC and flipped out. Actually, I thought that was kind of awesome. But a lot of the British people, some of the British people, definitely in the live stream chats, the Ustream chats, were kind of didn't understand why you had to do the fake British accents. They were kind of offended. And I know that's part of your program, and I know Piers Morgan and that whole drama, but I'm also really, it seems like you've learned how to make fun of yourself and see that maybe some of your antics are a little bit too much, and that, you're surrounding yourself with people who are saying, hey, Alex, your blood pressure, don't eat too many hamburgers, or try not to get too angry, because it does take a toll on you. It does take a toll on you physically to be so angry. And there's a lot on this planet to be angry about. I mean, my neighbor with the soda. You can just go down that rabbit hole every single time you see someone living an unhealthy life where they're just stuck in their bodies, stuck in the 3D world. But there's really nothing to push them out of it. I mean, if they're not waking up by now, and I think a lot of people are. I mean, I go into the grocery stores and hear people talking about vaccines and pesticides, and you shouldn't eat this kind of food because there's all kinds of additives in our food, and it's everywhere. But the people who are choosing to ignore that argument, who are choosing to they're just not gonna. I saw Alex in the video moving on. The police who were filming the protesters and the snickering, and knowing they were going to run their video through some facial recognition software when they got back to their little station house. I mean, you were right to dismiss them. Dismissing them with anger, like, oh, you're going to get cancer and die, was probably not the best karmic way to go about it. And when I'm saying these terms, karma and 4D and 3D and compassion, my training is telling me you gotta explain what that means, and I will on my website. I definitely will. It's hard to. My daughter did have a reaction to her vaccines. It's been a difficult thing to manage. I don't live in a state where I can opt out of them, and I've had to follow a path where, unfortunately, you're dealing with medical professionals and people who are willing to call social services because they find you and your presence so radical, they're terrified. So I really have to balance, and figure out how can I, please them so they don't call social services, and how can I give her vaccines where they don't kill her liver or generate, like, hepatitis B. There are some vaccines that are very bad. But anyway, I'm babbling. So I would like to extend an offer to Alex Jones to come up to the Hudson Valley. I know you're buddies with Gerald Celente, and he's in Kingston, New York. I am in Woodstock. Come up. Let's go to the Buddhist temple on Mount Mead. Let's sit in the field at Xena. Let's walk some mountain paths, Mount Tremper. Eat some green food. Chill. And see how maybe we can make InfoWars something. We're not going to go on and talk about spiritual stuff or aliens or whatever. But just make it more, instead of angry in your face, make it more productive. I don't know how, I really would love to have that conversation with you, Alex. So, this is my first video blog, where I cover Dear Soul, its purpose, its inspiration, who I am, a little bit, Sarah Dahman, New School for Social Research, philosopher, and extending an invitation to Alex and thanking him so much for his coverage on Bilderberg. So Alex, come to Woodstock. Let's eat some greens. Let's chill. Let's hum. Let's do our ohms and yoga. Thank you. Bye.